What's up, guys? So let's try something new today. Here's a riddle for you. I am not alive, but I can grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I? Please comment the answer if you know, and share your friends. Let's check who is more intelligent. I will share the answer in the next chapters in this story. It may be at the end of Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. Watch this video completely, or so make sure you have subscribed to our channel.
Let's start the story. The Lighthouse Mystery. Chapter 1, The Isolated Lighthouse. The lighthouse stood tall and solitary, perched on a rugged cliff overlooking the tumultuous sea. It was known as the Willowbrook Lighthouse, and it had been a guiding beacon for sailors for generations. But in recent years, it had gained a reputation for something other than its beacon of light, an unsolved mystery. The Willowbrook Lighthouse had always been remote, accessible only by a winding, narrow path that led from the village below. For years, it had been tended to by a dedicated lighthouse keeper, an elderly man named Mr. Jenkins. He had faithfully maintained the lighthouse and ensured that its light never faltered. But one stormy night, Mr. Jenkins disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only a cryptic note that read, "They're coming for me." No one in the village knew who they were, and despite extensive searches of the lighthouse and its surroundings, Mr. Jenkins was never found. The village was left without a lighthouse keeper, and the Willowbrook Lighthouse fell into disrepair. Its light no longer shone across the sea, and sailors began to avoid the treacherous waters near the village. The once thriving fishing community now faced hardship and isolation. Chapter 2, A Mysterious Arrival. It was on a misty morning that a stranger arrived in Willowbrook. His name was Edward, and he had heard tales of the lighthouse mystery while traveling through neighboring villages. Intrigued by the enigma surrounding the Willowbrook Lighthouse, he had come to investigate. Edward was a young man with a keen mind and a thirst for adventure. He had a knack for solving puzzles and uncovering secrets, and he couldn't resist the challenge of unraveling the mystery that had baffled the village for so long. As he walked through the village, Edward could sense the unease that had settled over the community. The absence of the lighthouse had taken a toll on the villagers' livelihoods, and they had resigned themselves to a life without hope. Edward knew that if he could solve the mystery and restore the lighthouse to its former glory, he could bring not only light to the village but also hope and prosperity. Chapter 3, The Investigation Begins. Edward's first stop was the lighthouse itself. He climbed the winding path that led to the cliff's edge and stood before the imposing structure. It had fallen into disrepair, with cracked windows and peeling paint. The lighthouse had an eerie aura, as if it held the secrets of the vanished lighthouse keeper. Inside, Edward found the lighthouse keeper's quarters, filled with dusty books and old journals. He began to pore over the journals, searching for clues that might shed light on Mr. Jenkins' disappearance. The entries were mostly mundane, detailing the daily tasks of a lighthouse keeper, but one journal stood out. In the final journal of Mr. Jenkins, the entries became increasingly erratic. He wrote of strange occurrences at night, of shadowy figures lurking in the darkness, and of voices whispering in the wind. Edward couldn't help but feel a shiver down his spine as he read the words. Chapter 4, Uncovering the Truth. Edward's investigation led him to the villagers, who were hesitant to speak about the lighthouse mystery. They were superstitious and feared that the mystery held a curse. But Edward's determination and genuine concern for the village began to win them over. As he spoke to the villagers, he learned of a local legend, the legend of the Sea Whispers. According to the legend, the Sea Whispers were ancient spirits who guarded the sea and its secrets. They were said to appear only to those who sought to uncover hidden truths, but their presence brought both enlightenment and danger. Edward couldn't ignore the connection between the legend and Mr. Jenkins' cryptic note. It seemed that the sea whispers were somehow tied to the lighthouse mystery, and he was determined to learn more. Chapter 5, A Midnight Encounter. One moonlit night, as Edward sat alone in the lighthouse keeper's quarters, he heard a soft, melodic whisper carried by the sea breeze. It was a voice unlike any he had heard before, soothing yet haunting. "Seek the truth, Edward," the voice whispered. "Seek the truth, and the light will guide you." Edward followed the voice, which seemed to beckon him toward the cliff's edge. There, he saw a faint glow emanating from a hidden crevice in the rocks. As he approached, he discovered a small, glowing crystal that pulsed with an otherworldly light. The crystal seemed to hold a message, an ancient riddle that promised answers to the lighthouse mystery. Edward knew that he must solve the riddle to uncover the truth. Chapter 6, The Riddle of the Sea Whispers. The riddle etched into the glowing crystal was as follows. In darkness veiled, secrets concealed. Beneath the waves, the truth revealed. Seek the heart of the tempest's might, where waves and whispers unite. Edward pondered the riddle, trying to decipher its meaning. He knew that it held the key to unraveling the mystery and finding Mr. Jenkins. With determination, Edward set out to solve the riddle. He knew that beneath the waves referred to the sea, and the heart of the tempests might hinted at a stormy night. But the phrase "where waves and whispers unite" remained enigmatic. Chapter 7, The Stormy Night. As Edward delved deeper into the riddle, he realized that he needed to experience the elements firsthand. He waited for a stormy night when the sea roared with fury, and the wind howled through the cliffs. On such a night, he ventured to the cliff's edge and faced the tempest. The waves crashed against the rocks below, and the wind carried haunting whispers. It was as if the sea itself held the answers he sought. In the midst of the storm, Edward saw a vision of Mr. Jenkins standing on the cliff, facing the sea. The lighthouse keeper seemed to be communicating with the sea, as if he had forged a connection with the very elements. Edward knew that this was the truth he had been seeking, the connection between Mr. Jenkins and the sea whispers. The lighthouse keeper had discovered their existence, and had become their guardian. Chapter 8, The Return of the Light. With the mystery unraveled, Edward returned to the villagers and shared his findings. He explained that Mr. Jenkins had disappeared willingly, not out of fear, but out of a sense of duty. He had become the guardian of the sea whispers, ensuring that the lighthouse would continue to shine brightly. The villagers were both relieved and awed by the revelation. They understood the sacrifice that Mr. Jenkins had made for their sake and for the sake of the village. They knew that it was their turn to carry on his legacy. Together, with Edward's guidance, the villagers restored the Willowbrook Lighthouse to its former glory. They tended to it with care, and once again, its light shone brightly, guiding sailors safely through the treacherous waters. The village of Willowbrook flourished once more, and the legend of the lighthouse mystery became a cherished part of its history.